What if I told you the elites had a secret plan to use MicroStrategy as part of their Bitcoin reserve? Before you stop me and tell me I'm absolutely crazy, watch what they do, not what they say here, folks, as we've got institutions just absolutely FOMOing into Bitcoin or into MicroStrategy, thus getting that proxy into Bitcoin. We've got massive institutional holdings here from Vanguard, the likes of Capital International Investors, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley. But if you look down here, Cantor Fitzgerald, who I did a video on earlier this week, is also getting deep into their Bitcoin holdings with MicroStrategy. Now, it's interesting because, as we know, Donald Trump has started that Bitcoin strategic reserve talk and the likes of a sovereign wealth fund. But the interesting aspect is Donald Trump is making Howard Lutnick the leader of the sovereign wealth fund. Now, with that, Trump has also come out and said, hey, he wants America to be the leader in crypto and Bitcoin to a lesser extent. So we're going to try to convince him to do full Bitcoin here pretty soon. But listen to what Trump is saying here all about the Bitcoin industry and everything in America.
Bitcoin has set multiple all-time record highs because everyone knows that I'm committed to making America the crypto capital. We want to stay at the forefront of everything, and one of them is crypto, and Miami seems to be the center of the action, come to think of it. And
so it's interesting. We've got Trump lining out, hey, Miami is the center of crypto and Bitcoin in the globe. He wants America to be the Bitcoin capital of the world. And he's got a lot of connections with these big money managers here, folks. We also saw, I did a video on it earlier this week, in BlackRock now getting 5% total of MicroStrategy. I think that's super interesting because not only is 5%, you might say it's not a huge chunk of change here, but the interesting aspect is you need to file and disclose before you're going to make this 5% leap here. So we've got now Howard Lutnick and Cantor Fitzgerald, the potential of the United States Sovereign Wealth Fund, and we've got Larry Fink and BlackRock doubling down, tripling down, and getting their MicroStrategy exposure really here up to 5%, quote, amid market volatility. So despite what they're saying here, folks, despite the FUD that they're trying to throw at MicroStrategy, it's watch what they do, but not what they say. Traditional media is going to continue to say, hey, we don't like MicroStrategy. We think it's a Bitcoin levered play. Bitcoin is not a great investment. We're not going to offer Bitcoin to you as a traditional holding. Well, watch what they do, not what they say here, folks. We've got BlackRock boosting their MicroStrategy investment. But it's unique because it's not just large money managers. It's sovereign wealth funds around the world. One of the largest sovereign wealth funds, in fact, not too long ago, I did a video on this as well, where Norway has now increased their MicroStrategy holding to 500 million. And it puts Wall Street to crypto notice. Look at that. Updated earlier this month, February 2nd. So Norway's central bank investment arm holds MicroStrategy shared valued at 500 million. They have also increased their indirect Bitcoin exposure, growing from 2,500 to nearly 70% increase here, nearing that 4K Bitcoin mark. So now central banks and governments will likely increase their Bitcoin holdings in 2025, driven by several factors. That's not just me, Green Candle here, spewing some hopium for you guys, folks. This is traditional media picking this thing up, saying, hey, look at what Norway is doing here. They are continuing to double down. The world's largest sovereign wealth fund is now continuing to increase its indirect exposure. Look, this was January of this year. Exposure of more than 355 million. Its sovereign wealth fund saw a 153% year-over-year increase in indirect Bitcoin exposure. Now, when you're looking at those numbers, why wouldn't you continue to double and triple and quadruple down on those strategies? It's just smart, right? Hammer your winners. That's what everybody is taught here. Hammer the winners. And it looks like Norway has continued to do that. Look at that, right? But I think the unique aspect of all of this is the large money managers who continue to get into MicroStrategy, right? We went over this yesterday. We've got Cantor Fitzgerald, who has nearly an 80% exposure of their entire portfolio towards Bitcoin and Bitcoin related companies, right? We went over this. MicroStrategy sitting nearly at 40%. NVIDIA, AMD, same thing. So that's another 18%. Tesla holds Bitcoin on the balance sheet, right? Tesla, Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Rumble, Bitcoin on the balance sheet. iBit, strictly just spot Bitcoin ETF. That's 80% of their portfolio here, all with Bitcoin and Bitcoin related companies. And now he's going to be heading up the sovereign wealth fund of the United States. Do you not think that Donald Trump's a little bit competitive here, folks? Do you not see that he sees things like this? Literally, world's largest sovereign wealth fund increasing their Bitcoin holdings to 500 million. Do you not see the writing on the wall here of what I'm seeing? And the other unique aspect of all this is that MicroStrategy is potentially getting taken over by these large institutions. Now, let's dive into this great tweet here from Jeff Park, right? Let's make it a little bigger on screen for you guys here. So if you dive into this tweet, he says, MicroStrategy's unorthodox capital strategy now includes their preferred equity, the STRK. Now, this is why I think this is unique. It's because MicroStrategy, this STRK, this preferred stock option, is only to large institutional holders. So who is a large and institutional holder? Who is that? That is insurance companies. That's banks. That's all these different big dogs here in the house. It's not you and I. Unfortunately, I'm not that big dog just yet. Maybe I could bark a little bit, but I don't have that much of capital to throw around where I could be competing with some of these insurance companies and these banks. But here's his theory on why he's bullish on STRK. It's less about Bitcoin. All things equal, option traders can't accurately know the gamma pins. Their short rates is also long delta rates. Their principal success does not require MicroStrategy dilution. So it's more one-sided of an investment here, right? So it's looking at it from a bigger picture. It's using these traditional financial tools to continue to buy Bitcoin. And because it's a levered play, you don't have to worry about the default rate. So everybody is saying you could get access through MicroStrategy and not have to worry about a default and not necessarily have all of that risk with just Bitcoin, the asset. That is what these people are looking at here, folks. They're looking at what MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor are able to do with all of this. They're looking at this. They're saying, hey, strikes or STRK's performance and trading volume versus all U.S. listed preferred stocks since 2022. I mean, look at this. First day of trade, up 1%. First week, 8%. First 2 weeks, 17.6%. I mean, the numbers don't lie here, folks. We're seeing some of the highest volatility in the stock market for companies like MicroStrategy, and people just continue to double and triple, quadruple down. And they're continuing to do that, right? And like I said, that's what they do, not what they say. MicroStrategy's STRK, preferred stock explained, funding the world's biggest Bitcoin gambit. These people are trying to caution you, hey, this is something to be worried about. This is a levered play on Bitcoin. You should be worried about MicroStrategy in this STRK offering, right? Why should they be worried about it? Bankers are starting to FOMO into it. Even got this here, retweeted by the good friend of the program, Dylan LeClaire. What does it say here, folks? Update. Source from banks underwriting MicroStrategy's preferred stock STRK as oversubscribed as anything we've done in the last 2 years. They are racing to buy as much of this preferred stock option as possible. Racing, folks. They can't get enough of it. The formula of Saylor is executing is a masterclass on several levels. Genius, folks. What he's doing. Electric. You can't describe it, folks. Can't describe it here. The only word you could use to describe Saylor's Bitcoin strategy is absolutely electric. Multiple PhDs, historians, they're documenting what this man is doing today because he's going to be a legend here in the future. Their bank's interest in Bitcoin finance has skyrocketed. These are all because of what Michael Saylor's doing, putting on this master class here, folks. He's absolutely crushing it. And now, once Trump announced the sovereign wealth fund, we have people that are saying, hey, maybe we should look at MicroStrategy over Bitcoin. Why? Because it's outperforming. Look, I'm not going to tell you guys to do anything related to that. I'm not going to tell you guys, hey, buy MicroStrategy over Bitcoin. You know, obviously not financial advice here in this channel, but, you know, like I'm saying here, folks, if you were buying MicroStrategy, you were absolutely whipping my tail. Now, I think it's absolutely a sign of what is to come here. We're seeing more and more companies come on here. Saylor's doing all of this in public. He's gaining attention from the likes of the big dogs. They don't want no puppies. They want a big dog. It's what everybody's screaming from a rooftop here, man. We're seeing sovereign wealth funds. We're seeing large banks. We're seeing some of the largest money managers in the world go all in on MicroStrategy and not just stop there. Double, triple, quadruple, down every chance they can. We've got BlackRock. As my man Ocean City is saying, maybe BlackRock put an injunction. I'm sorry. I was traveling here down to Costa Rica. I'm in Bitcoin jungle if any of you guys are around here. So I got delayed doing this live stream last night. But, you know, my man in the chat, Down Under Blue, saying, how is MSTR paying their dividend on STRK? Where are those funds coming from? It's a great question. We should always ask for open and transparency when it comes to all of these things. But MicroStrategy does have a business. Although that business isn't profitable, despite what a lot of these experts might be telling you, they are not able to pay down or to make all of this money and capital back just yet. But they're making so much money on their Bitcoin options that we're going to see in this next quarter earnings go absolutely bonkers here. I wonder what it's going to be like, because this is the first time where we're seeing the FASB really be implemented, where, you know, now MicroStrategy can use those Bitcoin gains as part of their earnings. So how high is that going to shoot that MicroStrategy stock price? I mean, I'm not sure, man. I am not sure. But one thing I am sure about is this Bitcoin price has been crab walking here. As my man Down Under Blues is in the chat is saying, we've got the Bitcoin CEO holding price steady so that other CEOs can stack sats. Of course, we've got the Bitcoin CEO. I should maybe ring him today. Be like, brother, what are we doing here? We got 97K and we've been crab walking here. We only got up 0.59% in the day. We've got down a month. We're down nearly 5%. What's going on here? Year to date, only up 4%. Do something here, Bitcoin. Show me something. Show me your worth, kid. But no, I'm just kidding here. I think Bitcoin is going to continue to crab walk here for a little bit. But I think, you know, obviously I'm very bullish on all these signs here going forward. Obviously, MicroStrategy continuing to buy up Bitcoin. I think all of these people continuing to buy up Bitcoin is the way. I think we're going to see more and more wallets start to get to 1 Bitcoin or 1 million sats, 10 million sats. I think that's going to continue to rise up. And everybody's looking at this Bitcoin price saying, hey, it looks extra juicy here, folks. And that's why I've partnered with the Bitcoin Well. They've got one of, if not the best place to buy Bitcoin in the United States. And I'm looking at these prices. I'm saying, man, I want to make a huge OTC purchase. That's a 50K or more. They've got the #1 white glove service for you to buy Bitcoin. They will help line it up. They're strictly non-custodial. So they'll do it quickly for you, folks. They'll send it for your cold storage. Tell them that Green Candle sent you. Go to the bitcoinwell.com/green candle. Click on this OTC right here. Sign up. You can even do just regular retail purchases if you'd like. But what I'm saying is I'm looking at this thing and saying, hey, it's looking juicy for you. This looks like a big opportunity going forward. So, hey, we're sitting here at Bitcoin, 97K. We're seeing MicroStrategy continue to scoop up Bitcoin. And all these institutions, Vanguard, they won't let you buy Bitcoin just strictly on its own, right? They won't let you do that. Why won't they let you do that? Well, because they want to still manage your money. They want you to still continue to do that, right? So I think with all of these signs here pointing to a very bullish 2025, I think that 97K price is looking extra juicy here, folks. I think I'm more bullish than I'm leading on here, because I think MicroStrategy is starting to absolutely FOMO into Bitcoin, and they're looking at, they've openly said that they're looking at doubling their Bitcoin purchase. They're a publicly traded company telling you what they're going to do. It's electric. Michael Saylor got the laser eyes on, and he continues to see these great Bitcoin companies. Now, it's going to be something that we're going to see a lot of sovereign wealth funds start to get on. I think Trump is going to start to buy MicroStrategy or start to implement Michael Saylor in some way, shape, or form. He's already been pictured with Eric Trump. And in that picture, he said, just 2 guys with one love, and that's Bitcoin, right? So I think we're going to continue to say that. And I appreciate you guys all joining me. But after this, you guys should check out my friends at Beyond the Wealth podcast here. Search Beyond the Wealth. Go to their latest video here, because there's a little extra special guy. I was on this podcast here, the Beyond the Wealth, and they just dropped it. So if you guys want to, after this podcast, I highly encourage you to go to this, smash the like button, watch it, do all you can to continue to push this message, because it's a podcast that is not necessarily Bitcoin focused. And I tried to steer them away from all the crypto tokens and try to keep them at Bitcoin only. So if you guys can, go to this YouTube link here, watch that podcast, like it, comment on him, tell him great guest. Just kidding. Maybe roast me in the comments there, and smash the like button here before you leave, and hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you guys potentially later today, as I will set up another great live stream for you folks. So thank you guys all for coming into the chat.